Hey, you awake?
Barely. Long day?
The kind where you're tired but your brain won't turn off, you know?
I know that feeling. Got some tea?
Yeah, chamomile. Want me to make you one?
I'm good, thanks. So, English podcast 520, right?
Right? Though honestly, it feels weird calling it a podcast sometimes. Like we're just talking.
That's kind of the point, though, isn't it? People listening while they're tired, or commuting, or doing dishes.
True. Sometimes I forget there are people listening. It just feels like us.
Which is good. Makes it real. So, what's been on your mind today?
Actually, I had this weird moment earlier. I was helping someone with English, and they just looked so defeated.
Defeated how?
They kept saying they'd been studying for years but still couldn't speak naturally. And I could see it in their face. Like they wanted to quit.
That's rough.
Yeah. And the thing is, I wanted to tell them something, but I didn't know how to say it without sounding like every other teacher.
What did you want to say?
That progress is slower than they think, but not in a bad way.
That's interesting. Most people say progress is faster than you think, right? Stay positive, you're doing great, all that.
Exactly. But that's the problem. When you keep hearing you're doing great and you don't feel great, it makes you feel worse.
Like something's wrong with you specifically.
Right. Like everyone else is getting it except you.
So, what do you mean by slower than you think?
I mean, maybe we've been thinking about progress wrong the whole time.
Okay, I'm listening.
Like, imagine you're watching a plant grow.
A plant?
Stay with me. You water it every day, give it sunlight, do everything right, but you don't see anything happening.
For a while, yeah.
Days pass, weeks pass, you start thinking, did I mess up? Is the seed dead? Should I give up?
But actually,
Under the soil, roots are growing. Deep, strong roots. You just can't see them yet.
and then one day,
One day, a little green shoot appears, and suddenly, it grows fast.
because the foundation was already there.
Exactly. That's what English learning feels like. Most of your progress is invisible.
Invisible progress. I like that.
You listen every day, but you don't feel different. You practice speaking alone in your room, but when someone actually talks to you, you freeze.
So it feels like nothing's working.
Yeah, but actually, your brain is building those roots, making connections you can't feel yet.
That's actually really comforting. But also frustrating, right? Because how do you know it's working?
That's the hard part. You kind of have to trust the process without seeing proof.
Which is the opposite of how we usually learn things.
Exactly. Like if you're learning to cook, you see results immediately. You make food, you eat it, done.
Or exercise. You do push-ups, your arms hurt, you know you worked out.
But language? You could study for 3 months and still mess up basic sentences.
And then suddenly, 6 months later, you're having a conversation and you realize, wait, I understood all of that.
Yes, and you didn't even notice when it happened.
It's weird how that works. Like, you can't pinpoint the exact moment you got better.
Because there is no exact moment. It's 1,000 tiny moments you forgot about.
Can you give an example? Like, from your own life?
Okay, so when I was learning another language, I remember feeling completely stuck for like a year.
A whole year?
Yeah, I would listen to podcasts every morning on my commute. 30 minutes every single day. And I understood maybe 20%?
That must have felt pointless.
It did. I kept thinking, why am I doing this? I'm not getting better. I should just study grammar or something.
But you kept listening?
I kept listening. Mostly because it was just part of my routine, like brushing teeth. I didn't think about it too much.
And then?
And then one day, I'm listening, and I suddenly realize I'm not reading the subtitles anymore.
Wait, really?
I was following along without them. And I don't know when that happened. It's like one day I just could.
That's actually incredible. But also kind of scary.
Why scary?
Because it means you have to keep going even when you have no evidence it's working.
Yeah, that's the part nobody talks about. Everyone wants to feel progress every day.
We're kind of trained that way, aren't we? Like, apps give you points. Courses give you certificates. Teachers give you grades.
Right? Constant feedback, constant validation.
But real learning doesn't work like that.
No, real learning is messy and slow and invisible for a long time. And then suddenly, it's not.
So what do you do during that invisible period? Just hope?
Kind of, yeah. But also change what you're paying attention to.
What do you mean?
Like, stop measuring yourself by how well you speak, because that's the visible part, and it comes last.
So measure what instead?
Measure if you're still showing up.
That's it?
That's it. Did you listen today? Did you try to understand something? Did you not give up?
That feels too simple.
It is simple. But simple doesn't mean easy.
True. Showing up every day when you can't see results, that's actually really hard.
Especially when you're tired, or busy, or you had a bad day at work.
Or when you try to speak and the words don't come out.
Yes, that's the moment when most people quit.
Because it feels like proof that it's not working.
Exactly. But actually, that moment of not knowing what to say, that's when your brain is searching through everything you've learned.
Like, loading?
Yeah, like when your computer freezes for a second before opening a big file.
So the pause isn't failure, it's processing.
Right. Your brain is trying to find the words, and even if you don't find them this time, you will next time, or the time after that.
That's a different way to think about mistakes.
People are so afraid of mistakes, but mistakes just mean you're trying something new.
I remember when I was learning, I was so scared to speak.
Everyone is.
Yeah, but mine was... I could read English fine. I could understand most things. But when someone asked me a question, I would just freeze.
What did that feel like?
Like my mind went completely blank. Like I forgot every English word I ever learned.
That's a normal fear response.
It is?
Yeah. When you're nervous, your brain goes into protection mode. It's trying to keep you safe.
By making me look like an idiot?
By making you stop doing the thing that feels dangerous, which, in this case, is speaking.
That makes sense. But it's frustrating.
Very frustrating. So what did you do?
Honestly, I just kept freezing for a while.
How long?
Months? Maybe 6 months? Every time I tried to speak, same thing. Blank mind.
But you didn't quit.
No, I was too stubborn. Or maybe too embarrassed to quit after spending so much time.
Whatever keeps you going, right?
Right. And then something changed, but I don't know what.
Tell me what happened.
I was at a coffee shop and someone asked me something in English. Something simple like, "Is this seat taken?"
And?
And I answered. Just automatically. "No, go ahead."
Without thinking?
Without thinking. And then I realized what I'd just done and I was like, wait, did I just speak?
That's amazing.
It was so weird. Because I didn't prepare, I didn't practice that specific sentence, it just came out.
That's what fluency feels like. It's automatic.
But I wasn't fluent yet. I still made tons of mistakes after that.
But you broke through something.
Yeah, I proved to myself that I could do it. Even if it was just one sentence.
And that one sentence gave you confidence for the next one.
Slowly, yeah. Very slowly.
See? Invisible progress. All those months of freezing your brain was learning.
I guess so. I never thought about it that way.
Most people don't. They just see the freezing and think it means failure.
But it's actually part of the process.
Exactly. It's like, you know when you're trying to remember someone's name and it's right there, but you can't quite grab it?
Yeah, it's so frustrating.
But then later, randomly, the name pops into your head.
Always when you're not thinking about it.
Right. Because your brain was still working on it in the background. Language learning is like that, but slower.
Way slower.
Way slower. Which is why it's so easy to give up.
So how do you not give up?
That's the big question.
Is there an answer?
Not a simple one, but I think it helps to stop expecting to feel good about it every day.
That sounds depressing.
No, listen. If you expect to feel motivated and confident every day, you'll quit the first week.
Because most days you won't feel that way.
Exactly. Most days are just neutral. You show up, you do the thing, you go to bed.
No big breakthrough, no major improvement.
Right? Just another day of roots growing underground.
Okay, I get that. But what about the days when you feel like you're getting worse?
Oh, those days are the worst.
Right? Like, I studied yesterday, I should be better today. But instead, I feel more confused.
Yeah. That happens because you're learning something new, so suddenly you notice mistakes you didn't know you were making.
Wait, what?
Like, before, you would just say things wrong without realizing. But now you know enough to notice you're saying it wrong.
So, feeling worse actually means I'm getting better?
In a weird way, yes, it means your awareness is growing.
That's such a backwards way to improve.
Language learning is full of backwards things.
Give me another example.
Okay. When you first start learning, everything is new and exciting. You learn 5 words and you feel amazing.
Yeah, beginner energy.
Right. But then later, when you're intermediate, you learn 5 words and it feels like nothing.
Because you already know thousands of words, so 5 more doesn't feel significant.
Exactly. Even though intermediate words are usually harder and more useful.
So you're actually learning more valuable stuff, but it feels less rewarding.
Yes, which is why intermediate learners quit more often than beginners.
That makes sense. The excitement wears off.
And the progress becomes less visible. Beginners can see themselves improving every week.
But intermediate learners might not see progress for months.
Right, even though they're still improving.
So what's the solution? Just accept that it's going to feel bad?
Not exactly. More like, accept that it's going to feel like nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah, most days won't feel good or bad. They'll just feel normal.
And that's okay?
That's okay. Actually, that's perfect. Because when something feels normal, it means you've made it a habit.
Oh. So the goal is to make it so normal that you don't think about it?
Kind of. Like brushing your teeth. You don't need motivation to brush your teeth.
I just do it because it's what I do.
Exactly. That's the goal with English. Make it part of who you are.
But how do you get to that point?
Honestly, time and repetition and not quitting.
That's not very exciting advice.
I know, but it's true. There's no hack, no secret method.
Just keep showing up.
Just keep showing up, even when it feels pointless.
Even when you can't see progress.
Especially when you can't see progress. Because that's when the roots are growing.
I feel like we should talk about practical things now. Like, what should people actually do?
Good idea. Because all this philosophy is nice, but people need something to hold on to.
Right. So what's the smallest thing someone can do?
The smallest thing? Listen to something every day, even if it's just 5 minutes.
What should they listen to?
Anything they can understand, maybe 60-70% of.
Why not 100%?
Because if they understand everything, they're not learning. Their brain is just relaxing.
And if they understand nothing?
Then it's too hard and they'll quit. So 60 to 70% is the sweet spot.
Okay. And what if they can't find time?
There's always time. You just have to stop looking for extra time.
What does that mean?
It means use the time you already have. Commute, lunch break, before bed.
Time that's already happening anyway.
Right, you're already doing something during that time. Just replace it with English.
Instead of scrolling, listen.
Instead of music, podcast. Instead of silence, English.
That actually sounds doable.
It is doable. The hard part isn't finding time. The hard part is choosing to do it when you're tired.
Because that's when you just want to zone out.
Exactly. End of a long day, you just want easy entertainment.
So what do you do?
Make English the easy option.
How?
Have it ready, like already open on your phone, already bookmarked, already downloaded.
So there's no friction.
Right. If you have to search for something to listen to, you won't do it.
But if you just press play?
You'll probably do it, especially if it's interesting.
That's another thing. How do you stay interested?
Change it up. Don't listen to the same type of thing every day.
Like different topics?
Different topics, different speakers, different formats. One day a story, next day a conversation, next day an interview.
Keeps your brain awake.
Yeah, and also, it's okay to get bored sometimes.
Wait, really?
Yeah, boredom doesn't mean quit. It just means your brain wants variety.
So you just switch to something else?
Yep, no guilt. Learning should feel sustainable, not forced.
What about speaking? Should people practice speaking?
Eventually, yes, but not at first.
Why not?
Because if you can't understand much, you have nothing to say. Speaking comes from listening.
So listening first, speaking later?
Yeah, build the vocabulary and patterns in your head first. Then speaking becomes easier.
How do you know when you're ready to speak?
When you start hearing yourself thinking in English.
Like random thoughts?
Yeah, like you're mentally narrating your day. That's when you know your brain is starting to think in the language.
And then you can start speaking?
You can start, but it will still be hard.
Because thinking and speaking are different.
Very different. Thinking is private and slow. Speaking is public and fast.
So how do you practice?
Start alone. Talk to yourself. Narrate what you're doing.
Like out loud?
Out loud. I'm making coffee. I'm pouring water. The coffee smells good.
That feels awkward.
It is awkward. But nobody's listening, so who cares?
Fair point.
And the awkwardness goes away after a few days. Then it just becomes normal.
And then you can try speaking with real people,
Then you can try, but expect to freeze at first.
like we talked about earlier.
Right. Your brain will blank out. That's normal. Just breathe and try again.
And eventually it gets easier?
Eventually. Very slowly, but yes.
This whole conversation keeps coming back to the same thing.
What thing?
That it's slow. That you can't rush it. That you just have to trust the process.
Yeah. Because that's the truth. And I think people need to hear that.
Even though it's not motivating?
Especially because it's not motivating. Motivation is temporary. What you need is acceptance.
Acceptance of what?
Acceptance that this is going to take longer than you want. And that's okay.
That's actually really freeing.
Right? Like once you stop trying to rush, you can just relax and enjoy the process.
Or at least not hate it.
Not hating it is a good start.
Can I ask you something personal?
Sure.
Do you ever feel like giving up? Even now?
On English? No. But on other things? All the time.
Really?
Yeah. I think we all have things that feel too hard, too slow, too pointless.
So what keeps you going?
Honestly, stubbornness. And also, I've been through it enough times to know that the feeling passes.
The feeling of wanting to quit?
Yeah, it comes and goes. Some days I'm motivated, some days I'm not, but I show up anyway.
Because you trust that it's working even when you can't see it.
Exactly. I've seen the pattern enough times now.
The invisible progress pattern.
Right. Nothing, sudden breakthrough. Nothing, another breakthrough.
And in between, you're just trusting.
In between, I'm just doing the work, not thinking about it too much.
That sounds peaceful, actually.
It is peaceful. Once you let go of needing to see results every day.
But it takes a while to get to that mindset.
It does. And that's okay too. Everything takes time.
Including learning how to be patient with yourself.
Especially that.
We should probably wrap this up soon.
Yeah, what time is it?
Late, but not too late.
Good late night conversation time.
The best time. When everything slows down and you can actually think.
So what do you want people to take away from this?
If I could tell someone one thing,
Yeah?
it would be, don't give up just because you can't see progress.
Because the progress is happening anyway.
Right, under the surface, building roots.
And one day, without warning, you'll realize how far you've come.
And it won't feel like a big dramatic moment.
No, it'll just feel normal, like, oh, I can do this now.
And then you'll keep going.
And then you'll keep going. Because that's what you do.
That's what you've always been doing.
Even when you thought you weren't making progress.
You were.
You always were.
All right, I think that's good.
Yeah, that feels complete.
Should we say goodbye to people?
We probably should.
This was English Podcast 520. Thanks for listening with us tonight.
Or this morning. Or whenever you are.
Right, time zones are weird.
But wherever you are, whatever time it is, keep going.
Even when it feels slow.
Especially when it feels slow.
Take care of yourself.
And we'll be here again soon.
Good night.
Night.